Corporal Jace Calder had fought in countless skirmishes across the Outer Rim colonies, his life measured in battlefields rather than birthdays. The Galactic Union didn't reward heroism with medals or promotions anymore, it had long since moved on to more tangible forms of recognition. Jace, weary from 3 consecutive campaigns in the Valerian cluster, had just returned from a mission that nearly cost him his life. The mission had been straightforward: suppress a rising rebellion on the planet Calith Prime, a mining world known more for its violent terrain than for its politics. But what began as a small-scale operation quickly escalated. The rebels were armed not only with conventional weapons but with stolen alien technology that bent gravity and time in disorienting ways. For 2 grueling weeks, Jace's unit fought through collapsing tunnels, acid storms, and energy traps, losing nearly half their squad before finally securing the rebel base. When he returned to the Union headquarters orbiting the gas giant Azura, he expected the standard debriefing and perhaps a commendation letter. Instead, he was led into a grand chamber filled with high-ranking officials, holographic screens displaying glowing constellations, and a single pedestal at the center. On it sat a small cage, barely large enough for a human fist. A voice, smooth and deliberate, echoed across the chamber. "Corporal Calder, your service has been exemplary. The Council has decided upon a reward, unique among your peers." Jace's brow furrowed. "Unique how?" From the pedestal, the cage hummed, and a small figure stepped forward. She was no taller than Jace's forearm, with shimmering violet skin and eyes that glowed like twin moons. Her delicate wings, transparent and iridescent, fluttered nervously. She looked more like a living jewel than a sentient being. "You've been given, her," the official continued, "as a token of appreciation. An alien companion to serve, accompany, and, if you desire, enrich your life." Jace stared, incredulous. "You mean I've been given a prisoner?" The official smiled, as though misunderstanding his skepticism was part of the ritual. "Not a prisoner. A companion." She consents to this arrangement, as all such rewards are sanctioned by interstellar law. The tiny alien looked at him. Her expression was wary but curious. "Human," she said, her voice high and melodious. "Why am I here?" Jace rubbed the back of his neck, unsure how to respond. I don't know." Her wings twitched, producing a faint chime. "I am called Lyria," she said finally. "If this is my fate, I will endure it, but I do not understand your species. Why do you fight? Why do you conquer?" "I fight because someone has to," Jace said bluntly. "And sometimes, the universe doesn't give you a choice." Lyria considered this. For the first time, she moved closer, her small hands resting on the edge of her cage. "Then I will watch. Learn. Perhaps I can understand." And with that, the ceremony ended. Jace was allowed to take her aboard his ship, a modest patrol cruiser named Horizon's Edge. The cage was removed, replaced with a custom habitat that allowed her freedom but kept her safe. The journey back to his home station was quiet. Lyria spent much of it perched on the control console, observing the stars with unblinking violet eyes. Jace found himself talking to her as if she were an old comrade. "Do you eat?" he asked at one point, offering a tray of synthesized rations. She hesitated. "Yes, but differently than you." "Try it," he said, handing her a small wafer. To his surprise, she consumed it eagerly, then looked at him with a smile that seemed almost human. It was in that moment he realized she was more than a reward, more than a curiosity. She was alive, sentient, and intelligent. And he had no idea how to treat her. Weeks passed, and what had started as mutual wariness developed into something resembling companionship. Lyria had an insatiable curiosity. She learned human language quickly, her voice becoming more nuanced, more expressive. She explored the ship, learning its mechanics, sometimes helping Jace fix failing systems with insights he would never have considered. Yet there were moments of tension. Lyria had abilities Jace didn't fully understand. She could manipulate gravity in a small radius, her wings allowing her to hover, even momentarily lift objects heavier than herself. One night, during a routine asteroid run, she saved the ship from a critical collision by lifting a massive rock that would have torn the horizon's edge apart. "You could have been hurt," Jace said, panic rising in his chest. "I am resilient," Lyria replied. "But you are fragile. Why do you risk your life so readily?" "I don't have a choice," Jace admitted. "Somebody has to. Some people have to survive so others can live." Her gaze softened. "Then perhaps we are similar. I fight to survive. You fight to protect. Both forms of courage." There was a pause, a fragile understanding settling between them. It was during this moment Jace realized he had grown attached to this tiny alien, more than he had to any human comrade he had lost along the way. She was small, fragile in appearance, yet fierce, clever, and courageous. She was, in every way that mattered, a partner. Their bond was tested in ways neither could have predicted. On the fringe of known space lay the Draxel Expanse, a sector rumored to be crawling with space raiders and rogue AIs. Jace had received a distress call from a colony under siege. The decision was easy, he had to respond. When they arrived, the scene was chaos. Entire structures were levitating, pulled apart by strange magnetic forces. Lyria's wings buzzed nervously, but she didn't hide. Instead, she analyzed the energy patterns, guiding Jace to weak points in the raiders' defenses. Together, they fought. Lyria would dart ahead, disabling weapons, while Jace took strategic positions, neutralizing enemies with precision. At one point, a massive drone carrier hovered above them, lasers aimed directly at their ship. Without hesitation, Lyria surged upward, lifting the vessel out of harm's way using her gravity manipulation. The humans on the colony stared in awe, while Jace felt a rush of pride and fear intertwined. After the battle, as they drifted among the calm debris field, Jace finally spoke, his voice softer than usual. "You know, most people would have just seen you as a gift. Something to keep safe. I see everything you are." Lyria perched on his shoulder, her wings fluttering gently. "And what is that?" "Strong. Fierce. Unafraid. You've saved lives, including mine, more times than I can count." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Lyria whispered, "Perhaps I am not a reward. Perhaps I am a choice. Like you." The words resonated deeply with Jace. All his life, he had believed that rewards were given to the lucky who survived. Yet here was proof that the universe didn't hand out gifts at random, they demanded connection, trust, and respect. Months later, the pair became a legend among the fringe colonies. Tales spread of a human soldier and a tiny alien woman who fought together as equals, their bond unshakable. Other soldiers received rewards, yes, but none as extraordinary, none that had transformed the meaning of companionship and bravery. Jace and Lyria's journey continued, not always safe, not always easy. They explored uncharted systems, rescued stranded colonists, and confronted cosmic threats beyond imagination. And through it all, they learned from one another. Lyria learned the resilience and stubbornness of humanity, and Jace learned the depth and subtlety of alien life, seeing intelligence and courage in forms he had never recognized. One evening, as their ship orbited a violet sun, Lyria hovered near the observation deck, her tiny figure backlit by stellar fire. "Human," she said softly, "do you ever regret it? Accepting me as companion?" Jace leaned against the console, watching her. "Never. You've shown me more than medals or promotions ever could. You've shown me loyalty, courage, friendship. Maybe more than that." Lyria's wings shimmered faintly. "Then perhaps, our fates were meant to be entwined. Not as reward and recipient, but as partners." Jace smiled, reaching down to let her land on his hand. "Partners," he echoed. And in that moment, floating above the endless expanse of space, it was clear that reward had transformed into choice, choice had transformed into trust, and trust had transformed into something neither of them had expected, a bond unbreakable, between human and alien, soldier and companion, friend and equal. And so they continued, traveling together through the stars, tiny and fragile yet unyielding, a testament to courage, connection, and the unexpected gifts the universe sometimes offered, not as prizes, but as possibilities.